Hello Amazon friends, let's talk about something that, wait, you might think this is boring. Let's talk about trademarks for a second. And don't click off this video. I'm not going to go into an in-depth video of how to search for trademarks and tell you that you need trademarks. I'm just going to kind of foresee your business into the future and let you know of kind of some of the repercussions that I'm dealing with when I'm trying to get brand registry for one of my brands on Amazon, and kind of what I've learned from this, when you should start to get a trademark for your business on Amazon. Some people say do it immediately, even before you even find a product, and I understand kind of the perspective they're coming from. I have a slightly different view on that. I think that you should be able to get it a lot later, and it's not really something you should be stressing about even before you find a product. And while that strategy worked in the past of getting it as soon as possible and then kind of making it generic, the cool thing right now that gives you a huge advantage of why you don't even need to do that is the new, well, it's not as new anymore. They rolled it out a few months ago, but that's Amazon themselves, and that's their IP program. So basically they're not really partnered with lawyers, but they have lawyers kind of go on their platform. And I talked to a few of those companies, and they said they don't actually get they don't have to give Amazon any type of commission, which is interesting. I thought it would be kind of a paid thing, so I'm not really sure how Amazon is monetizing that, but that's beside the point. So the point is that you can actually get your brand registered as short as 2 weeks and actually get all of these benefits that Amazon has for brand registered sellers, such as a more descriptive description with images. You can do sponsored products. You can also advertise your products and have more data analytics, things like that. I feel like I'm going on a little rant, so actually let me just take a pauser and say hello to anyone who's new on this channel, or if it's first time for you watching my videos. My name is Karina. I love selling on Amazon and teaching people how to sell on Amazon. So subscribe and like the video. But before, I feel like this is going to be kind of a informative rant video. Because I recently had an experience and I wanted to share with you about trademarks specifically, and kind of the better approach that you should be taking with your business when it comes to trademarks. So the cool thing about this IP program is that you're actually able to get all of the benefits as soon as you file for a trademark through the Amazon partners. So it's all these law firms that partner with Amazon. Like I said, I'm not sure how they're monetized, but you apply for a trademark, and when that process is kind of in action, you get the benefits from Amazon. So your brand isn't technically trademarked, for example, if you're selling in the US market, but in Amazon's eyes, since you are kind of in the process, they allow you to have all of those super cool benefits. One of my favorite ones, I think, is, and this kind of relates to the way I teach Amazon, which is very, very low risk, is the brand sponsored ads. So you can put on top of the headline. The description is cool and everything, but I think that really makes you stand out, because I teach my students, anyone who is in my Into a Milli program or my private label club, which you can join for $7 down below, they know how to find low risk products in very non-competitive markets. So if they're in these markets and there's all these sellers kind of fighting, or not really fighting, they're all private label sellers, perhaps, yeah, obviously, and they're trying to, you know, get a better PPC bid and try to show up, but many of them may not be taking the extra initiative to actually pay, because it does cost money depending on the classes of the products you're selling. It should be around $1,300. That's like the bare minimum of what it costs, but many people don't want to take that step, so they don't have those advantages. But at least if you're in that non-competitive market and early on you do get brand registry and you can advertise your products on the top of the page, then customers are going to see that, and that's another piece of real estate that your listing owns. And the best way to win in Amazon is real estate of listings, right? So you want to show up for as many page ones as possible. You want to show up as many sponsored ads as possible, so you can get more eyes on your product. And brand registry is a huge, huge advantage of that. So where I was getting to, where as before people would say get it as soon as possible because it takes 9 months in America, and that's like the bare minimum. It takes 9 months to get a trademark in the United States for your brand if you're selling in the US market, right? And then like that's a very, very long time for it to process, and then you submit all that to Amazon and they approve it. So people say like file it for as soon as possible, even before knowing what product they're trying to sell. So people often go with these really generic trademarks. That's kind of one way going around it, is using really random words that could just be really general, so it applies to pretty much anything. But now this actually gives you the advantage of not having to rush. And even before this program, I never kind of advocated for worrying about those things, because while yes, that gives you great advantages, it's honestly never or make it or break it thing in your business. And that is with most things. There's very seldom amount of things in this business that are make it or break it. The only thing is product research, honestly, because if you know how to find the right product in the right market, then everything else is so much smoother for you, and you don't have to worry about scraping extra sales by being trademarked or anything like that. They will just come to you because you've done your research. And those are the exact markets and products that I teach all the students in all of my programs to find, because I know it's going to make life for them so much easier once they know how to find those non-competitive markets. But the trademark does help, and for the future of either selling your business or expanding it, it is a great thing to have. However, I still don't recommend rushing it, even if you are just starting Amazon FBA and you're kind of looking for products. Don't even bother getting a generic one right now, because honestly, you could get it approved in a few weeks, and that's really not a make it or break it thing. It could be a lot of a headache. I would just focus on product research. And the reason why I say that is because I had a brand, and it wasn't really a generic / specific name. Say it's in one category, such as kitchen supplies. I didn't name it like best kitchenware or anything like that. It wasn't a very specific word that wasn't able to be trademarked, because I knew that in the beginning when I named my brand. I just kind of combined a few words that were descriptive of the industry that the brand was in, and I searched it up. There was only one trademark that was somewhat similar that I searched, and it was a completely different niche than me. Completely different. You couldn't even mix them up. So, you know, obviously that's okay. So I went in with the brand name, and then when I tried to actually get a trademark, my lawyer sent me back this long list. I don't know, maybe I can insert it in here and blur out all the similarities of like 20 trademarks that could potentially be mistaken for that brand name. And it's like crazy, because I would have never thought that they're so different, and they have, you wouldn't even believe how different they are. It's like a few letters are similar, but there's, yeah, the other brands are very long and are not even kind of, they're in similar industries. But anyways, he said that because it could be very easily confused, and he could try for it, but he's not sure if it will work out. So there's a solution around that, and I'm working on that right now. But I just wanted to let you know how a lot of the times people also advocate to do all of this themselves, such as do the trademark searches, do patent searches, all of this for your products. And while that is something, of course, that you should do, of course, check for the domain availability of your brand, check for if there's anything that is in the same category as your trademark. That doesn't always work out, because we're not lawyers. We don't know the legal aspects of it. We don't know what's going to get approved or not. And in my case, I had no idea that this was anything even remotely close to that. And when I got that list and said, okay, your trademark might not be approved because there's all these brands that are kind of similar, even though the words I picked were very kind of descriptive in a way that I can't even see somebody patenting like one specific word that I could have possibly used, but not patented, trademark. But it happened, right? So honestly, if you think you can go and do all the searching, I do suggest it, but I don't think that should be kind of the final decision that you make, because you're gonna overlook something, as I did, because I have no law experience. Obviously, I don't know what's going on in that realm, and it's better to honestly just leave it up to the professionals. And obviously, like $1,500 around is not something that everybody wants to pay up on top of that. That's a good portion of inventory. So again, I really don't suggest, even still, filing for a trademark before you find your product and before it starts getting sales. Because if you do file it, it doesn't get sales, it's just not very beneficial. And there's really no rush. Like I said, it's not a make it or break it. So my best advice would be to get the product research going, get the sales going, actually begin to see revenue enough to establish your kind of cash flow and your inventory flow, and then you expand and you scale. But I don't think that people should be focusing on all these LLCs or trademarks. It's just honestly too much of a headache. And if you were to spend time searching every little detail and paying your good earned money for these things in the beginning, I think you're gonna stress yourself out. So my best advice is to wait, because now we have this great opportunity of only having to wait 2 weeks, potentially to a few months to get approved. And I don't think that's nowhere near make it or break it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this informative rant video about trademarks. Do like this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, and join the private label club for $7, where you can learn how to find these super profitable, low risk products that require very low capital investment. It was fun chatting with you, and I will see you in my next video.